戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is January 5th, 2026. We are live to tape on episode 904. And today, New Year, New USA. And signing on from off the group, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films, author of Archetypalism, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It's Monday.
What day is it? Monday. Monday.
And according to the fresh, new Canary Cry calendar, today is National Bird Day.
All 12 billion birds in the United States are artificial.
That's great. It's right there on the calendar, folks. This is Salute Your Government Drone Day. Look out the window, see all those beautiful government drones perched on a telephone wire, and thank them for keeping us safe. What was that?
A bird of prey.
That was a bird of prey. Okay, sounded like the air squealing out of a balloon or something. We're here. First show of 2026, Gonz. I am sick as a dog, as usually happens after holiday travel, things like that. But we're going to push through, going to make it happen because the world is different today, Gonzo.
Things have changed, apparently.
Things have changed. The whole world is different. As we've been expecting for at least a year, that by 2026, the world was going to be a completely different place. Do you want to introduce to us the difference that makes this reality almost unlike any reality we've seen before?
I think so. Well, let's start off with a little bit of Trump.
We will launch a new age.
And a little bit of Elon.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
Of course, we started 2025 with the Donald Trump becoming president, and DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon's little project to clean up the government. And he came in, and Trump and Elon were best friends. And then it all fell apart. Elon did his best, but he could not fix the corruption. And he got really mad, and they gave him a black eye and told him to get in line. And so he took a little vacation. Now he's back. And as of January 4th, 2026, Elon changed his profile picture to the American flag, so there's that.
Classic.
And yeah, classic. And he said, "Had a lovely dinner last night with at POTUS and at FLOTUS. 2026 is going to be amazing." And it's a picture of Elon and Trump and Melania sitting at a table, a little private table that's all roped off and everything. Elon's got his power pose with his fingers, all the tips of his fingers touching. And
Very
the world is
sinister.
healing, Basil. The world is healing. Everyone's getting along again.
Wow, isn't that just a beautiful start to 2026, Gons?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Friends are making up, the billionaires are back at it, and that's the most exciting thing that's happened in 2026 so far, right?
Well, it's very positive, you know, it's very positive. But in the meantime,
There it is.
Some things
There's
going
some
on.
real stuff. There's some stuff going on. I mean, really, one of the most incredible starts. You remember how 2025 started, Gons?
I do. It was the Nephilim in Florida.
What?
The Nephilim sighting in
Nephilim
Florida. Yes. Wasn't that 2025?
I was talking about the Cybertruck explosion in front of the Trump Tower with Sean Ryan's email he got from the guy.
Was that last year? I thought that was the end of 24.
No. That was
beginning?
January 1st, 2025. And then there was a bunch of riots by the 5th. It was a whole mess.
Oh, you know what? The Nephilim thing was in January of 2024, exactly 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so
there's always
I must
something
be losing
crazy.
track of time. Yeah.
Always something crazy to start. But one interesting thing that also happened in January of 2024 was January of 2025 was the Biden administration put a $25 million bounty on the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. There's a lot of Democrats forgetting this point that it was originally Joseph Robinette Biden that offered $25 million to anybody who can collect Nicolas Maduro. Will Trump be collecting on that bounty? Well, later on, Trump did raise that bounty to $50 million. So there's going to be some very happy and wealthy Delta Force members because the breaking news, the most recent news, is that Nicolas Maduro and his wife plead not guilty at first court appearance since capture in Venezuela. So don't worry, he is getting all of the rights afforded to anyone in the United States going to a court. The fact that it's in the Southern District of New York is very strange. Just off the bat, the Southern District of New York is where almost all of the court action against Trump originated in the Southern District of New York. There's lots of questions. Why would the Trump administration try Maduro in New York rather than someplace like Miami, right? He can try him anywhere. If you try him in Miami, where there's tons of Venezuelan refugees from the Maduro regime. I actually know a guy who, back when Hugo Chavez took over in 1998, his family whisked him away from the communists in Venezuela. And he's lived all over the place. But there's about 8 million Venezuelan refugees, legit refugees from the Hugo Chavez regime in Venezuela in 1998. Okay, I'm not talking the Tren de Aragua, not talking the Biden importees, talking about the legit 90s Venezuelan refugees. There's about 8 million of them. They're all over the place, but many millions of them are here in the United States. And many of them are down in Miami. So why not try Maduro in Miami? Well, it is also interesting because it's the exact, I don't know if it was the exact day, but we had Mamdani just take office as mayor of New York. So you have this communist dictator. Trump steals him. We'll get into that. Steals him from his own bed and sort of parades him to put him on trial in New York City, in New York, which was sort of the bastion of anti-Trump sentiment and anti-Trump court action. Now, there was this funny little clip here. Apparently, Maduro arrived in court and learned some things about the American justice system. Let's listen to this guy reporting from outside the Manhattan Federal Court in New York City.
All of this stuff from the judge translated to him by an off-screen translator to ensure that he understood. He said he did. Interestingly, he said after the judge read him a version of Miranda rights and included the fact that he had the right to potentially be released on bail, Maduro said he was unaware of those rights. And it struck me that he's coming from a very different legal system, because it seemed like he had never even conjured the notion that he's entitled to an attorney, he may be able to apply for bail, and he has the right to use to stay silent. He has the right that none of the material that he has said outside the purview of counsel necessarily has to come in. So it was interesting to see him sort of taking that in a system very different from the one I'm sure he's used to.
What a great advertisement for the American judicial system. I mean, wow, look at that. It's like, look at this communist dictator comes in and he's appalled by the rights given to people being tried.
Even communist dictators get rights in America. It's the American dream, man.
It is actually a very interesting placement of the American legal system, where it's been kind of in some rough waters in recent years, with the trust issue.
Yeah, well, especially in the Southern District of New York, too.
Yeah,
so the trial is going to be its own absolute narrative, just craziness, right? Because there's a lot of talk. Here's the thing, and I'll just say it up front, folks. I could not have pinpointed it before this happened. Now, of course, we had been talking about Venezuela. We'd been talking about the minerals and the oil and China and everything that goes into sort of the top layer narratives of what's gone on. We've been following this, building up to this. Really, you look back at our previous episodes and previous reports. Again, the miracle that is this show, you can almost draw a straight line from the things that we were kind of picking apart over the past 6 months to a year leading up to this moment. But we're going to try our best to kind of deconstruct a lot of the narrative, because the narrative is very strong with this one. But it touches so many things. It's hard exactly. I mean, I hearken back to the beginning of 2025. And I think it was during Clubhouse. If I was doing Clubhouse at the time, I just had this extremely strong feeling that in 1 year and 365 days, all y'all heard me say it over and over and over and over again last year, that something's going to be totally different. The world's going to be a totally different place. Now, I could not have imagined that one single event, one that is kind of, in a way, a little bit of a throwback, like a military boots on the ground extraction of a foreign leader or something. It's, there's no robots, there's no AI involved. I mean, I'm sure there is all this stuff involved, but it's kind of this old school, just pinprick
like
of a moment.
Tactical, very much the idealized.
2 hours. It took 2 hours.
Yeah.
To absolutely turn the trajectory of the world around. And that may sound like a bit of a stretch for some people, but we started building this show and trying to lay out the different layers of the different things, of the different, the changes, the different timelines, the different narratives. You got everything involved. Of course, you got the oil, you got the drug trafficking, you've got the mineral mines, the antimony mines we've been talking about. But now you got the voter fraud stuff, you got the fiat banking, you've got the petrodollar, you've got China, Taiwan. It touches literally everything. I could not have chosen one single event that could happen in 2 hours that would touch every single angle of what's going on in the world. And this was it. So we're going to try our best to walk through some of those, as many as we can. But it really is hard to overstate just how, you know, I don't need to sound too impressed yet. There's lots of impressive things about this, but it's more mind-blowing that things could unfold in the way that they have.
I remember making the analogy to the patch bay. Do you remember the patch bay analogy with the concept of maybe not World War III, but certainly some different shifts going on? And if you know what a patch bay is, if you're doing tech or if you're doing sound or video, a patch bay is basically a little patch bay. It's, I don't know how to call it, but it's a bunch of plugins.
Yeah, it's how you connect different channels to other different channels, basically.
Right. It's how the phones used to work, you know, and like some operator sitting there connecting one call to another place or whatever. And so you can make these connections to different places based on the wires and, you know, what color you use and where you input, where you output. And the analogy, if I recall correctly, was that, hey, during this next phase of changing things around in the world, we're going to be unplugging certain supply chains and certain flows of resources and all that. And anytime you do that, you're disrupting the entire system. Imagine a concert going and you got to repatch everything. You're plugging out the guitar. You got to put it over here. You plug out the vocals. And so obviously things are going to be shaken up and changed around. I feel like it's almost like with this Maduro move with Venezuela, they're kind of like, let's just bring in a new patch bay. Let's just forget the old one. It's broken. Let's get a fresh, new, shiny patch bay. We'll start over. You know, everyone get in line. We're going to start, you know, we're going to get roll call, all the nations. And in earnest, we will get going with this Venezuela situation. So I think this is a big, the silver move at the end of last year was an indicator that 2026 was going to be crazy. And we got something pretty crazy right off the bat. So not surprised.
Sir Ike in the chat says, in other words, Trump in Venezuela is our crossing the Rubicon moment in world history.
Hey, listen, Elon,
well, I was going to say, and you're not going to get a lot of this from a lot of other outlets, okay? Because we're getting the obvious, and we'll touch on the obvious, but the obvious, you know, sort of simpleton narrative is it's the oil. He wants the oil for his billionaire buddies. It's imperialism for oil. Which there's certainly a lot to do with oil involved, but that is just
one piece of it.
It's like the one layer that you know, someone who doesn't really pay attention can kind of like
they can latch onto it.
Yeah, it can just kind of be like, oh yeah, oil. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, that's what it's all about. But
so one thing that I was going to mention was Elon, as a side note, said that we are in the singularity now, which I don't know what he meant by that necessarily specifically, but apparently we're in the singularity. So yes, we've passed some kind of Rubicon. But also, Basil, I'm getting this, you know, because people can't be in the courtroom, but apparently Maduro had a very specific hand position while he was in there. Do you see this?
Little triangle hands.
Yeah, he's got his little triangle hand there. Yeah, look at that. You know, he's signaling. He's doing his part.
Just listening. This is the courtroom artwork, which is so famous, especially coming out of Southern District of New York, who does not allow cameras in the courtrooms, and so they got to keep the courtroom artists employed.
Yes, they do. The last bastion of hand drawing.
It's been the same guy for about 40 years who does the court drawings. It's it's either courtroom artists or boardwalk caricature artists. Those are the two by hand artists that are still working today.
I still call for a renaissance of art, any kind of skill, craft, artwork with your hands, real human art. I think we're going to see a renaissance in the next 10-20 years. So still sticking to that thesis, but continue.
I don't know what you have next on the list here, Gons, but one of the things that was a brilliant sort of display was the parade.
Oh, yes.
Maduro back to U.S. soil. So, he was taken straight up from his home. We'll get into some more details about that. Just a very impressive military maneuver across the board. And I'm not the only one saying that. But one thing that was very interesting that we rarely get is basically every moment, every step along the way of getting Maduro onto the Iwo Jima, back to America, parading through the streets. He was basically on camera the entire time, providing the
live stream. It's U.S. military industrial complex jumping into the live stream business. You got to have live boots on the ground streaming right then and there. That's how the world
which was powerful for the sort of for the narrative control of it, because that's how you keep people locked in. Like, he was captured at like 2 a.m., right? And then, today he goes to court. Usually you would go, oh, he was captured at 2 a.m. 2 days ago, and here he is at court. See? But this was like every hour on the hour was another clip of him being transitioned from a van to a plane, from a plane to a van, from a van to the streets, and then here he is walking into the jail. Now he's walking from the jail. And this just like, it was almost like you say, like this live stream.
It is
transfer.
That's the meta right now. It's all about the live. It's all about the streamers. And let's just remember,
we are a global production company.
They got to keep everyone tapped in and sitting at the edge of their seats. And here's CNN moments after Maduro landed and was escorted off the airplane.
We just saw President Nicolas Maduro, the Venezuelan president. We could see that it was indeed him, looking like he was wearing the same exact outfit that we saw earlier, a picture sent out.
Which, by the way, there's no way that you can really tell it's him based on the footage they're showing. It's like an aerial view of the airplane. There's some people walking out, and this person tries to describe what's going on.
Camera. Like, it's a lot of airports will have a weather camera that you can tune in to see what the weather is at the airport. And you see this a lot. A lot of the footage of him seems to be from CCTV cameras, from stationary cameras on these, various permanent systems, not necessarily from, news cameras chasing him around or whatever.
By the administration, but a remarkable moment where we're seeing him walking on U.S. soil, flanked by more than a dozen federal agents. This is moments ago. I know it is very dark, hard to see, but eventually you will start to see it lighten up just a bit, and you'll see most people surrounding him are wearing black clothing, but he is not. He is wearing something that is lighter, a gray color, or it looks like gray, potentially light blue, but similar to what we saw in the pictures that were sent out by the administration. You are seeing him there flanked by so many agents and taking steps very slowly as they take him to the next position.
Take him to the next position.
And you can hear in the report, like, there's nothing really going on. You can't tell that it's him. We just have to trust that it was him, but it could not be. It could be an actor in in a jumpsuit. But the report is, look, there he is. There's people around him. He's wearing clothes. Other people are wearing other clothes, but he's wearing specific clothes. So it's the clothes. In fact, we'll touch on it later on, but there's this weird pattern every step along the way to like comment on his clothing.
Is there a later point where we're doing that, or should I just do it now? Because I think
whatever you want, do it now.
I should just mention it now because the clothing was part of this. Now, every good show has some good advertisements placed in there, So there was a few pictures going viral of Maduro allegedly at the various stages of the arrest and the traveling and everything. And I don't know if any of these are actually real, except for the one that I'll zoom in on.
I believe are the real ones. There's a lot that are questionable, but these were the ones that I saw on sort of mainstream, not just being going through the X timeline or something.
Right. Well, what's interesting about these 4 images, it's all in one image here, is kind of put together. But Maduro is wearing something different in each image. In the first one, he's got a white collared shirt with a black jacket. Second image, he's got the blue, kind of like a sports hoodie type thing on with some black pants and some slippers. It looks like some just regular slippers with socks, by the way, socks and slippers. Good look. And you can tell that he had something on his face too, because he's got the beanie looking thing. He's handcuffed there with the DEA. And that picture, I don't know if you saw, Basil, but they released these photos. There was like 3 or 4 photos that they released. And in the first 3 photos, they blurred out the faces of the agents. And then the 4th one, they didn't. So I don't know why they forgot, or maybe they accidentally put it in there. I don't know. But the DEA was all doxxed as part of this. And then before I go to the last one, the very far right, he's wearing, I think it's maybe just the black jacket zipped up. But yeah, he's got a black jacket with a big hoodie on it and then the thing on his head. Now, the one that went very viral is Maduro. I think this is supposed to be him in Iwo Jima. Is that what is being reported? Or anyway, he's with the military and he's in the airplane and he's got those big granny sunglasses on.
They're not sunglasses. I told you that before. It's a blindfold.
I know, but they look like those old school, like old people sunglasses, like I have some. I'm gonna grab a pair.
Yes.
I got them somewhere. Anyway, but yeah, they look like those. He got the ear. He's got the earmuffs on because it's loud in those military jets. But the thing that people were pointing out was he's wearing some nice Nike fleets, and
like
of course
kind of thing.
Like a tracksuit. Now Maduro Nike spiked, Basil. The Google search, this is an actual screenshot, I did the research myself. Maduro Nike went parabolic on the search engine, and it is being reported by places like NDTV. Maduro's Nike tracksuit sold out hours after his handcuffed pics go viral. So look, it could be just the side effect phenomenon of this whole situation, but come on. You don't think Nike maybe had a little, hey, make sure Maduro's in that tracksuit so we can, offload a little bit of supply. And it really didn't move as many tracksuits as we'd like during Christmas. So make sure Maduro's got that Nike tracksuit there. Then we can sell it out and we can make a little cash. It's like a little native ad for Nike.
Yeah, of course.
Why would it be Nike other than some either Venezuelan local clothing or something that's just completely irrelevant? You gotta get the placement ads. I'm not saying that's what it was, but certainly convenient.
I'm curious, as long as we're on, the beast fashion section of the show.
Yes.
Because, it makes sense that he would have changed clothes a couple times because, yes, he is apprehended, but he's still the president of a country. Like, if you're going to hold the guy for 3 or 4 days, you're not going to make him stay in his like dinner jacket or whatever when you took him out of his house. So I imagine they gave him a few opportunities to change his clothes. It's probably just provided by the law enforcement or the military. So yeah, it would not be totally out of the question that hey, we got to deal with Nike. Nike's gonna pass make a donation to the military. We just got to put this Venezuelan dictator in a tracksuit.
It's like seeing IBM at the Holocaust, or what is it? Was it GM or was it Ford? I forget which one it was. The cars that went over there to help out the Nazis during World War II. So it's it's very similar. There's not much difference here. Beast fashion.
Most modeling is kind of acting like a beast, but making it fashion. Beast, but then make it fashion.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just an extra added benefit, side effect, a little cash flow for the big corporations. Native ads of the whole event here. But so we kept track of or we saw some of the aerial footage, but the footage that I think is most fascinating is this one, Basil. This one looks like just somebody on the street with their phone watching.
Yeah, there's a lot.
This is just watching the what are these trucks take Maduro. It says Venezuela's leader Maduro traveling the streets in New York, and they kept the back of the truck. It's a motorcade. They kept the back of the truck open, and it's a big parade.
Yeah, so there's an armored truck here with lights flashing, and then behind the armored truck is a white van, your classic white van. The doors on the white van are open in the back and on the side, lights flashing everywhere. And the camera guy is chasing, running after the van. And you can see, allegedly, Maduro in the back of that van, has his blindfold on. They're showing him off. This is like a parade to show off Maduro. And in this van, there's all the law enforcement, and then they close the door and zip away. They slow down with these people who are chasing, and and literally just to show him off, open the doors. It's very like, you think of Saddam Hussein, you think of Gaddafi. They all had their sort of parading moments. Both Saddam and Gaddafi, their parading moments were a little bit more violent. They were not paraded by the U.S., but this is like a state. You need this as part of the ritual. It's part of the spell when it comes to.
Oh, this is a very old tradition. It goes back hundreds of years.
Yeah. You got to parade the guy through the streets, show him off. Now, whether this is actually Maduro or just a guy they dressed up like Maduro, I'm not 100% convinced that almost any of this footage is actually him. Not to say that I don't think it happened, but, it's theater. This is all theater. Every moment of this is theater. And, I don't know, if you don't want to risk the assets or something, you just dress some other guy up like it. Let's see here. I'm going to move the Donroe Doctrine down, Guns, a little bit to the Columbia section, because that'll be more relevant there. We'll skip that. But yeah, it's very interesting. We didn't compile this, but if you're much like how it always is, if you are not paying attention, the theater of the day will sort of dictate everything you know and feel about a certain situation. And we see this a lot specifically with Democrats in the United States, because the Democrat ethos is sort of reactionary, right? Really what the Democrat ethos is right now is, if Trump does it, it's bad. And that's all there is to it, But this Maduro thing's very interesting, because it was as recently as like 2024, during the Biden administration. You had Chuck Schumer, you had CNN, you had what's her name? Karine Jean-Pierre. Everybody was talking about how bad Maduro is, how Maduro needs to get out of here. Oh, 2020, Chuck Schumer is saying, Trump's not getting rid of Maduro. He's weak. I can't believe he's keeping Maduro. CNN saying, oh, Trump loves Maduro. He wants to be just like Maduro. And suddenly now, of course, hours after it's become known that Maduro's been taken by the United States military, you had the Chicago Teachers Union literally hours after. It happened at 2 a.m. By like 5 a.m, they had a full mobilization of liberal protesters on the streets.
They had signs printed out, stuff that would take weeks.
Yeah,
had them all
ready to go. And their thing, the humorous part is, they're all marching in the streets, and their signs say like, end the war in Venezuela, stop bombing Venezuela.
It's a little off.
This is how you know it was made ahead of time. Because by the time they even set foot on the street of Chicago to protest, it was over. There was no bombs. There was no
an extraction. Bombing. It was not a. I mean, we hear there was maybe a little gunfire towards some of the actual crew that got in there and took them out. But it was not like a full-on war. But hey, it's close enough. War with Venezuela. Yeah, we got that line around. Here you go. Get out there.
Right. They just busted out. Like they had in a storage unit the war with Venezuela gear to pass out, and of course, none of them. I mean, it's not even within the like programming of their mind to even ask, oh, what did we think about Maduro before this moment? It's just not part of it.
No.
But what we saw almost immediately was a lot of celebration from Venezuelans all over the world.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of footage, and we can share footage of the huge crowds. But the one I have here was basically some people dancing in the streets, guy dressed as Trump, and they're all dancing to YMCA.
Yeah.
Very American, very happy. So
Is this in Venezuela?
This is in Venezuela, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep. So Trump is a hero. He saved Venezuelans, and he's doing the Lord's work over there. Apparently,
they're loving it. I had a clip. It kind of got mixed into the thing, but there was a gal going around interviewing Venezuelans. I think it was in Florida. They came out to celebrate, and they were, there was a liberal gal, and she's going around and she's saying, "What do you think about Trump taking Maduro?" And they're like, "We love it. We're so happy." Like,
she's probably horrified.
Well, don't you know that he just wants to take the oil from Venezuela? And the Venezuelans are like, yeah, that's what Russia did to us. It's what China did to us. It's what they all want our oil. If giving the oil to the United States is the price to get rid of the socialist dictatorship, we are willing to pay that price. So the whole it's just for oil thing doesn't even it's getting thrown into the people's faces who are trying to sort of virtue signal and convince Venezuelans that this should be a bad thing, even though their own party was railing against Maduro. Let's see here. Let's jump to the press conference here.
Okay.
We'll get a little bit of details, and we had a comment from Jason. He says, "Wish I was impressed. Few years ago, when I was still patriotic, I would have been loving the crap out of this." Let's remember that comment as we hear
that. Hey, look, just as a caveat, we'll get into it. When we were putting the show together, Basil was having that moment.
No, don't give it away.
American.
Don't give it away. Let's just play this, and then we'll get into it.
Okay. All right. Here we go. This is what is the gentleman's name here who's speaking? I'm not entirely sure, but this is a press conference right after the whole Maduro thing broke, and this is the Pentagon addressing the situation.
This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd, and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk to you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again.
Okay, let's pause for 1 second.
Pause it for a second right there. Okay, we're going to get into some of the good stuff, but this was a very interesting comment, and also one that is not meant to be sly. This is not meant to be sort of a sneaky, oh, did you catch that? Ooh, they might do it again. No, they are very open about the fact that they are willing and ready to do this again. And this is actually perhaps maybe the biggest reason why this operation is a total game changer for this sort of global world order. And we'll get into more of it. But, coming up on the last few months, we covered Pete Hegseth and the War Department and their return to what's called the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine is a very old, American international policy, which basically declares, hey, we know we're not the only world power. This was 100 years ago. Yeah. But to all the other world powers, the Western Hemisphere is ours. Okay? Step off. We are going to decide what happens in the Western Hemisphere, North America, South America. This is ours. Okay? So just take a step back, and we're not afraid to do what we need to do to guarantee sort of our control and our influence in the Western Hemisphere. And as the sort of leadership and as the 20th century went on, and especially in the recent decade, the Monroe Doctrine was sort of, even amongst Republicans, was often spoken of as this archaic warmongering, it's illiberal, savage sort of imperialism, blah, 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 blah. But it was just in recent months, Pete Hegseth, War Department said, actually, no, yeah, we're going back to the Monroe Doctrine. That's what we got going on. And this was actually brought up by Trump here. And we actually have, as we always do, an updated version of something that harkens back to a different time in America.
Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades.
We got the clip I moved down here. We got a series of clips before we play this video again.
Okay. I must have not followed our very complicated show notes that I am.
This is
the Doctrine. Okay, got it. All right, here we go.
All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines. And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot.
A real lot.
They now call it the Donroe document. I don't know.
I don't know. I think he made this up right in this moment because he kind of flubs it. He doesn't say Donroe Doctrine. He says like Donroe document. I don't know. He kind of feels, you can see it, and you know it when you see it. He knows what he's doing extemporaneously. He knows he flubbed Donroe Doctrine and says Donroe document, and so he goes into this like, I don't know, whatever. I'm not even reading something, but it's the Donroe Doctrine. I mean,
so he does look like he's reading this for the first time on the paper.
We got the Donroe Doctrine. Okay, no longer the Monroe Doctrine. It's the Donroe Doctrine. It's the Gulf of America. It's it's America too, and.
This is how mandala effects happen, by the way. These little slip ups here.
It never was the Monroe Doctrine.
It never was. It's always been the Donroe
It's always been the Donroe Doctrine. See, look at this clip.
It's a doctrine or document? Oh, who knows?
It's whatever he says it is. And so we have the Donroe Doctrine, and this is one of the things that we're talking about. What does this mean for the world? Okay, and we'll get into some of the details of this operation, but the operation itself is something that the world is not seeing in a long time. And there was a lot that went into it. But when we start hearing the list of military assets, of intelligence, etc., all working at once to make this happen, we've never, in at least modern history, seen even a major power like ours been able to swoop in and steal the leader of a country in about 80 minutes. There's different timelines are being given, but the word on the street is it took like 80 minutes to go in, grab the president, and exfiltrate him. But what this does more than anything is give a message to, if not everybody in the world, definitely everybody in the Western Hemisphere, that we have the ability, we have the political will, and we have the expertise and the technology to literally make your president disappear in the middle of the night.
It's definitely a flex. It's the military-industrial complex flexing their proverbial muscles.
And so let's see who's on the list, Gons. Let's see here.
Go back.
Trump,
the guy.
No, Trump. No. We've got the list of clips here. We've got Trump threatening the Colombian president.
Oh yes. Oh, you're talking about that list. We have like 5 lists on this episode. I don't know which one.
I know. You must not be looking at your document here.
I'm looking at it now. What am I looking for?
Well,
Colombian, just moving completely. I must have completely messed up on opening all of these links because it is completely out of order. Okay, here we go. This is Trump. He's on. Is this the one where he's on
Air Force One?
Air Force One. Okay, yeah. Here we go.
Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long. Let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. he has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
It sounds good to me.
Secretary Rubio mentioned.
You know why? Because they kill a lot of people.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
Did he say I tell ya? Did he do the I tell ya? Like, oh yeah, he's got a lot of cocaine, I tell ya. Man.
Yeah. And the reporter,
it feels like a WWE pre-fight, like taunting going on.
yeah,
you know?
it's the kayfabe. But
The kayfabe,
so
yeah.
you one interesting thing about this clip is obviously they're speaking English in this clip, but the subtitles, it is subtitled into Spanish. So
Yeah.
this particular clip is for the Spanish-speaking world,
Colombia,
to get some insights into what Donald Trump is saying after immediately taking out the president of Venezuela. And we have here reported from the Economic Times in response, Colombia's president taunts Trump with "come get me" challenge as tensions rise.
Come get me, bro. Come get me, bro.
What did Gustavo Petro say to Donald Trump? Colombian President Gustavo Petro delivered a stark message after Trump hinted at possible military action in Colombia. "Come get me," Petro said. "I'm waiting for you here. Don't threaten me. I'll wait for you right here if you want." Petro went further, rejecting the idea of foreign intervention. "I don't accept invasions, missiles, assassinations, only intel," he said. He added that he was willing to meet face-to-face, insisting on facts, not lies, while accusing Colombian political mafias, blah, blah, blah. Quote, "Come speak here with intelligence and we'll receive you and talk face-to-face with facts, not lies. Stop getting lied to." And then it goes down. They took out the part where he called him a coward. Come on. In an Economic Times, he said, come get me, coward," which was a very interesting thing for him to say because it mirrored almost exactly a clip from Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro just earlier this year. It's in Spanish, but I will read to you the English subtitles. Guns, if you want to play this.
Venga por mí.
Come get me.
Aquí lo espero en Miraflores.
I'll wait here in Miraflores.
No se tarde en llegar.
Don't take too long.
Cobarde.
Howard.
You don't know.
Coward. And now we're getting into.
And no, that was the clip you got there. Oh, I brought that clip. Whoops.
You brought this clip. It's got other.
So the
parts.
exact same taunting. I mean, this is very interesting. The exact same taunting, almost the exact same phrases used. "Come get me, coward." I'm in Maduro's case, Miraflores, and in the Colombian president's case, I forget what town he mentioned there. So we have Western presidents of specifically South American countries really ready to test the Donroe Doctrine. I found it right before the show, so I didn't put the link in, didn't want to confuse things. We also have the Cuban president making statements very similar to the statements we got from Maduro. And this is in response to this clip from Lindsey Graham, also on Air Force One.
Could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
All right. Look at that. Lindsey Graham giving Trump credit what Basil Rosewater predicted a year ago.
It is very strange to see Lindsey Graham on the plane with Trump during this.
That in itself, yeah, very strange. And all the praise. Look at all that praise.
I know. It's bizarre, and it's because of the Donroe Doctrine, baby. We're getting Colombia, we're getting Cuba, the whole Western Hemisphere, but it's not just South America that's being mentioned in the same breath as taking over the country. We also got a little bit of North America included.
Oh, yes. The Greenland.
Mhm.
Well, I don't want to talk about Greenland. Let's talk about Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine. And we'll worry about Greenland in about 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days.
Why are they all laughing so hard? They're like, oh, yeah, I don't want to talk about Greenland. Let's talk about Russia. And they're all like, this is hilarious. Look at all these nations we're taking over. What in the world is going on here?
Isn't it bizarre?
It's
You have a
bizarre. They
reporter
laugh
ask
like
about
evil.
Greenland, and they all start laughing. He says, oh, well, let's not worry about Greenland now. Let's worry about it in 2 months. Let's worry about it in 20 days. Let's worry
It
about
gives us
South
timeline.
America. Yeah.
I
So, now Greenland, of course, we've had the Greenland talk. There's lots of polls, and the Trump administration has been building relationship with Greenland. Denmark, who currently controls Greenland, is not very happy about that.
Yeah. BBC was reporting that we need Greenland. Trump repeats threat to annex Danish territory. And just to tack this on real briefly, we'll come back to some of the sort of resource-based motivations for all of this, not just world domination or Western Hemisphere domination, but a very practical resource type of move here. The Energy Monitor, and Sir Ike sent this to me, so thank you, Sir Ike. July of 2023, there was a headline, "Why the World Finds Itself in a Greenland Gold Rush." And in this article, it mentions a project. The venture, what is this venture called? After cobalt battles, Greenland-centered mining company Blue Jay Mining for the Disco Nuswak project, which will primarily focus on mining nickel, copper, platinum, and cobalt. The venture is backed by some of the world's richest people, including Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Michael Bloomberg. So I don't know if this is a Trump helping these guys out because they're American, or if it's a, hey, no, Trump's going to go in there and take over, step aside other billionaires. But just a side note to the Greenland situation.
Yeah, and Greenland, I mean, really doesn't belong in this conversation, because even the reporter on the plane was like, are you going to do an operation in Greenland?
Right. It wouldn't be,
implying, are you going to go take over Greenland militarily?
Are you going to
kidnap
extract the king of Greenland?
Right, which is not what Trump has said at all. There's not going to be a 51st state Greenland, at least from what he has said. The last pitch was, we'll give every Greenland citizen $5 million to let them be whatever, not a state but a territory or something like that. Because Trump, I can't recall if he said it in this clip or not, because while of course we know there's lots of nice things in Greenland, i.e. oil, minerals, things like that, he says outwardly, we got oil, we got minerals. I mean, especially now that we control Venezuela, we got oil, we got minerals. There's literally, Venezuela has the #1 oil reserve in the world by far. It's not even close to #2. And, minerals, we've gone over the minerals there. We have a little update on that as well. So, that's why the Venezuela operation, while the U.S. controls the flow of oil out of Venezuela, I mean, you're talking not just the resource as it exists, but you're talking about controlling. This includes the petrodollar. Maduro had started selling oil in yuan to China. China gets a significant portion of its oil from Venezuela. We'll talk about that in a second. This really is control. Not that the U.S. will be getting all of the oil, but will be controlling the oil coming out of Venezuela. And the history of Venezuelan oil, this is the hard part. I'm getting so sidetracked to go down all these different little rabbit holes. So we'll get to the history of that. One last clip here for the Donroe Doctrine. We got.
Do you want to finish this clip because there's like another 45 seconds in the Greenland clip? Is there anything else in it that's worth mentioning?
Let's play it. We can see. I don't recall if there's anything more, but maybe some of the stuff I just said.
About Greenland in 20 days.
On Venezuela, we talk so much about energy.
By the way, I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
I think it's a big community.
There's a little more, but I think that's fine.
He actually, I believe next he says the thing I just mentioned. Just play the last 20 seconds.
Okay.
You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added more dog sleds. It's true. They thought that was a great move. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security.
Okay, yeah, dog sled.
Dog sleds. Yeah. Okay, funny. All right, one last thing here. This was again Lindsey Graham, but now
do we have another Lindsey Graham?
Yeah, you went down a little further. We have Lindsey Graham.
Make Iran great again. Is that the one?
Yeah. Well, you gave away the joke, but yeah, okay, that's the one.
It's okay. All right, come on, load. Here we go. Let me get the volume. Here it is.
So I pray and hope that
this is Lindsey Graham on Fox News.
The year that we make Iran great again.
Did that glitch out for you?
No, it wasn't a glitch. It was just awkward silence coming off of the clip. Because Lindsey Graham he starts this interview, he's full screen, he's there, he's talking, and then as he makes a statement, he pulls out a black hat that says "Make Iran Great Again," and he puts it on his head. That's the awkward silence. I'll play it again. It's only 11 seconds.
So I pray and hope that 2026 will be the year that we make Iran great again.
And the guy who's interviewing him has no idea what to do. He just sort of slowly closes his eyes, speechless. It is so bizarre. And yes, Trump and Lindsey Graham, they posted a photo. Let me see if I can find it. It's on our. It's that.
By the way,
that next link on the document there.
The next, okay. Make America great again is one thing. Make, MAGA, make America great again, but make Iran great again.
Yeah,
I don't even want to try it, just in case there's a little slip up, and then you're in trouble.
It's bizarre, and again, he says 2026. Okay, that's one thing. It goes through all of these clips. It's all 2026, at least according to Lindsey Graham, the sort of ghoul in a potato sack. Says 2026 will be the end of Cuba, of Colombia, of Iran. Now, there's a lot of talk about, Israeli connections to Venezuela and this and that and that and this. And, there's lots of reasons why this Venezuela move doesn't require Israel involved, but Iran is a totally different situation.
Well, there's some. Well, you can even mention that is that what you're saying, that with the Iran situation, that Israel's involvement is
that's what I'm saying,
directly impacted. Yeah, more in the public.
Yes, the Iran one is much more blatant as far as direct connection to Israel. You can pick stuff apart and find clips and reasons why Israel would care about Venezuela, but Venezuela was sort of this one chess move that really split the timeline, as far as benefits. It was the most highly leveraged action. Now, speaking of which, let's go back to that presser where that fella is. Yes, so let's hear a little bit, because I mentioned the day after this happened, and you know, we are aware of all of it. We are aware of the theater. We are aware of the negatives of empirical or imperial hegemonic sort of power, of the human suffering on the individual level, of the theater of patriotism, of the mind control, of the apotheosis of American heroes and all these sorts of things. We know this. But once in a while, you got to give it to them. They create a situation where there's just really nothing you can do but say, at the very least, I'm glad it was us and not somebody else. Here's a little bit more information on the operation here.
To do this type of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation.
Whoa.
We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists. And we could not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA.
Hey, CIA, NSA, NGA. Okay, so my tinfoil hat is on, Basil. There's no American flag anywhere near me right now. This whole thing is an intelligence operation. This is, man, the corruption is real. The corruption is real. Let's keep listening.
We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise, it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise.
Wow.
Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force. Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation.
He goes on. I mean, by the time this little section is over, my American flag was back up. I was ready to, go get some terrorists or something. I don't know. That's really well done.
The big thing, I know it goes on, and I even got into a few sort of deeper breakdowns of it. And once you really realize what this operation was and just how successful it was, look, I'm not the only one impressed. Everybody's really impressed. Just on like the ability for humans to pull something off. It was almost like going to Disneyland. You go to Disneyland, whatever, it's kind of corny and it's blah, blah, blah. But the thing with Disneyland is that the world's best engineers, the world's best artists, all the world's money all come together to create this like just amazing, creation of human
illusion and deception, which is magical. It's supernatural almost.
I mean, you watch the timeline of this operation. Basically, all the lights in the entire city go out at once. Immediately, all of, Russia had given them missile defense systems. China had given them super high-tech radar systems. All at once, those either get destroyed or get deactivated. Then they have F-35s just circling the city, blasting the city with super loud, like sonic booms. So it's just pure chaos on the ground. And then like 6 helicopters fly in. They jump out. They knew exactly where he was. They knew exactly where he was going to run, which was his safe room, his panic room. And they caught him before he could even get into his safe room. I mean, they were ready with blowtorches and stuff to just, take a few hours and cut into it. But they just swooped him up and got out. There's never been an operation like this in human history, which is very impressive. And he mentioned the Guardians. I saw some people in the comments mention it. Guardians are the word for soldiers in Space Force. So there were satellites involved. There was the Air Force involved. The Navy was there. Delta Force, which is like the most elite, dudes. And, it was really incredible. You can see some footage that came out of it. And there was some, pretty gnarly helicopter battles going on with some shots coming at them from on the ground. And you really cannot help. And I'm not saying anybody should be impressed by this. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to have any feeling about this whatsoever. But it is the fact that this operation is unlike anything that has ever been pulled off before. And it doesn't matter if I'm impressed. It doesn't matter if you're impressed. But it does matter if CNN is impressed, Gons. Let's roll this clip.
How this news is being received in Iran, how's it being received in Russia, how's it being received in China?
All three predictably will deplore this kind of activity publicly. Privately, they will be impressed with the military capability here. I would argue none of those three militaries could have executed an operation like this. And again, we tend to just breeze by this. But the idea of finding, fixing, kidnapping, taking him out alive with his wife, no casualties on the side of the U.S., that's an extraordinary military operation. So I think while there will be a lot of public condemnation of the United States, predictably from those three nations, privately they'll be saying to themselves, that's a very capable military. That's not a bad thought to pop up in Beijing, Moscow, and Tehran these days.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I thought he was going full like woke, whatever, but no, in the end, he's saying the same thing. He's sort of the American flex.
The psychological effect of this being pulled off and grabbing the guy and his wife, no casualties, in and out in 80 minutes, has a psychological effect on all of our adversaries that is sort of unmatched by almost anything. I think the most recent thing that had this kind of psychological effect would have been the dropping of the atom bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I mean, they're not the same, obviously, but the psychological effect of like, oh, they can do something that we did not think was possible. This is concerning.
Well, I think, we talk about kayfabe and the concept that it's all a stage and all these things. But even in WWE or WWF, there have been some fatalities based on things going wrong, right? Because wrestling is all staged, it's all scripted, whatever. But I think it was Owen Hart. It's like 98 or 99. He fell. I think he fell from something. He was jumping off a pillar or something like that, and he died. He died from that fall. So there's casualty. So I think maybe even just the no casualty aspect of it is the impressive part. It's like this huge operation. You got jets and helicopters. You got the entire military there, and nobody really got hurt. That's probably more impressive. And you know what? If we're going to flex America, we can also say like, hey, our allies, like some of our really important Middle Eastern allies, like, hey, you can do your flex without like killing a bunch of people, like especially innocent people as collateral. But anyway,
that brings up a really good point that actually leads into my next thing.
Great.
Very well.
I love doing that for you.
One of the things that that really, again, back to the psychological geopolitical effect. We know that Russia and China had been supporting Venezuela, giving them weapons, giving them radar stuff, and Venezuela has been sending them oil. They've, it's one of the main portions of the Western Hemisphere, although there are others, and they're probably concerned now as well. But one of the main portions of South America where China and Russia really, they had a foothold. They're like, hey, Venezuela. The United States, even in the Biden administration, did not consider Maduro's presidency legitimate. I mean, you cannot get as, separated from the good graces of the U.S. any more than Venezuela was, right? And one message that's going across is that China and Russia can't help you. If you are a South American person, dictator, or whatever,
or anywhere in the world that's being propped up by by Russia and China specifically.
And specifically if the Donroe Doctrine and stuff, we're talking South America. So, and Russia and China have relationships and bases in other places. Panama was another example. Argentina is another example where China is building naval bases and stuff like this. This kind of sent a message. Is like, hey, if you're a South American, leader, and you're making friends with China and Russia, and they're saying, oh, we got you. You don't need to bend the knee to America, whatever. This sent a message saying, hey, Russia and China didn't do squat about any of this. They couldn't do anything about it. And the most either of them did was put out a press release that says, oh, we don't like this. Don't be mean to our friends in Venezuela. But further on in the analysis or the breakdown that this guy was giving about the operation, he said some very specific things about intelligence. Because, you can have a lot of intelligence. You can have a lot of signals intelligence, tracking phones and things like this. You can have some old school boots on the ground intelligence, people in and around the institution to kind of try, because you got to know exactly where Maduro's going to be at the exact moment that you're coming to get him. And the thing with people like Maduro, or just world leaders in general, is it's really hard to know exactly where they are at any exact moment, because they have palaces in different places. They have, it's part of security to not, to have it be kind of a mystery where the guy is at any moment. So one of the most difficult things to do in a situation like this is know for sure that Maduro is in the building that you trained to break into and steal him. And there was one very interesting detail about Maduro's schedule mere hours before he got, and that was he was meeting with a delegation from China like 4 hours beforehand. We have this little video here, which was taken. It must be the last known footage taken of Maduro before getting swooped up.
They didn't know it was the last time he'd.
Yeah, you can play a little bit of this. This is the Chinese delegation. Good to see you. You bring Happy New Year. You're a horse ride. Are you horse? I'm a tiger.
Are you the horse? I'm the tiger.
Pause that one, Guns. This is a guy on the Chinese delegation where Maduro's saying, hey, I've known you for a long time. I knew you since you were really, really
I knew
young.
you when you were a little baby. Yeah.
Right. So this delegation has been in contact with Maduro for a long time, and it was just about 4 hours after meeting with this Chinese delegation that he got swooped up. Now, here's a clip. Somebody asked Trump if he knew anything about this. Let's play this.
China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes to
terms
the
of
oil and
China,
drugs?
This isn't it.
That's not it.
That's not it. No, it's the link before that.
Okay, hold on. Now I got to go back and find. Oh, Trump had no idea. Is that the one?
Yeah, but you got to stop reading the titles because it gives away the joke.
Okay, all right.
I got to stop naming these clips as the joke of the clip. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation
This is the clip I was just playing.
Did I mess it up?
affect your relationships with them when
in
it comes to
terms
the
of
oil and
China
drugs?
and Russia.
Yeah, no, that's
well-
my bad. All right, I put the wrong clip in there. Long story short, a reporter asked, "Hey, did you know that Maduro was meeting with the Chinese delegation that day?" And he goes, No, I had no idea. Why would I know that? I don't know." He's like kind of gets defensive about it. And there's an interesting, when you start talking geopolitically, one of, again, the sort of base level, sort of midwit things about this is, Trump wanted to take the Venezuelan oil so China couldn't have it. So, he wants to take away the oil from China. But, you think about, okay, if you were doing this operation and you had to guarantee that Maduro was in the exact building that you needed him to be in, well, if you knew that he just met a Chinese delegation in that building and he was going to either spend the night there or was just there still, I think it's totally possible that China may have actually either known about this or,
Assisted.
Maybe assisted, maybe.
Because listen, okay, let's go back to that Pentagon press real quick, just a few seconds here of the guy talking about part of this operation here.
And in helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets. In early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise. And
Okay,
you found it. Good job. Yes. Right there, he's saying, hey, we needed to know for a fact where he was, what he would do, what his pattern was, where he would be. And what better way to know exactly where he's going to be than to either know or be told or maybe have something to do with guaranteeing he was going to be in that palace because there was a Chinese delegation to meet him there.
Chinese spying everybody, might as well use the Chinese. Make him useful, and maybe we'll cut you an oil deal.
Trump always brags about how he has such a good relationship with Xi, and the midwits out here saying, well, China wants to take away Venezuelan oil from China. He wants to hurt China so they can't get Taiwan. Well, that was brought up in the press conference as well. And you can play that one that I had you stop playing before.
Russia and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes to
terms
the
of
oil and
China
drugs?
and Russia, Russia, when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to give it to them. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Yeah, he's going to keep selling oil to China. In fact, he's going to sell even more oil to China.
So is this a buyout? This looks like a buyout that's staged as a military coup.
So here's the big problem with Venezuelan oil. Venezuela, for a long time, it was back in the 1920s, is when they found oil in Venezuela, and a ton of it but it's Venezuela. They didn't have a lot of money. They couldn't, it takes a lot to get oil out of the ground, to get it shipped, to get it refined. It's a whole thing. And so in the early, 20th century, they found the oil and America moved in. American corporations. They said, hey, we can build the stuff. We can get it out of the ground for you. We'll split it. And the split actually was kind of fair for a long time. It was 60% of the oil sales went to the corporations, the ones doing all the work, and 40% went straight to the Venezuelan government.
Pretty good.
For not having to do anything.
So just giving up the land to have other people come in to drill it. Very much. Great business model.
American companies come in, develop Venezuelan oil industry, and look, this is going to sound kind of pro-America, and I'm happy to hear if anybody else has a different way of explaining it. But the American oil companies come in, they make 60%. It's a lot of money, of course. Venezuela gets also a lot of money for doing nothing. In the sort of mid to late 20th century, Venezuela is an absolutely filthy rich country. It is, especially as far as South America goes, is a filthy rich country because of this deal. Well, as we're seeing in America, when a country gets filthy rich, that's when you start getting, that's when the communists move in, basically.
Right, exactly, yes. Redistribution.
And that's
tax the rich. Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. After Venezuela became filthy rich and the income inequality was at its lowest, and they had all these great programs, that's when the communists moved in. And that's how Hugo Chavez, who had pulled a failed military coup before, Hugo Chavez gets voted as president in 1998. About a decade before that, he had tried to do a military coup of the government and failed. And so he gets voted. Then Hugo Chavez, he nationalizes all of the country's, all of the oil stuff. So all the American companies get kicked out. Venezuelan government takes over the refineries, takes over the pumps, does all these things. They were pumping about 3 million barrels of oil a day, which is a lot. After Hugo Chavez kicks out the Americans and the Venezuelan government takes over, their production gets cut down to 1 million barrels of oil a day, which is this sort of classic battle between communism and capitalism. In capitalism, you have personal incentive to pump more oil because the individual wants to make more money, and so they do more work. Once the government took over, the pumping went down by 2/3 because who cares? Nobody's getting paid for it. It becomes this whole communist thing. In 2014, Hugo Chavez dies and Maduro gets put in charge. There's some conversation about whether Maduro was a CIA guy, quite possibly. But long story short, the sort of socialist government of it just runs the oil industry into the ground, and even their ability to pump more oil and ship more oil, it just fell apart. The whole country fell apart. And Trump kind of mentioned this. A few people mentioned it in their talks, which is, the whole infrastructure is kind of falling apart, and so we need basically corporations to come in and rebuild the pumps, rebuild the things. And Venezuela has the biggest oil reserves in the world. It's not even a close second. And all it takes is the humans. It takes the companies, takes the know-how, takes the this. And so that's kind of the next steps here. This is what we're looking at. And the companies couldn't come in, not only because of Maduro, but also because of China and Russia's, finagling of the situation. So as far as China's concerned, would China help the US know exactly where Maduro would be? Maybe. because
Yeah, I think
Trump
so.
would
If they're
make a
gonna get,
deal.
yeah,
Trump would
make the
make a deal. Hey, we'll keep selling you the oil from Venezuela. You can keep buying the same oil. In fact, we're going to come in and get back up to a 3 million barrel a day situation, so we can actually sell you more oil than you'd ever want. As far as a business proposition goes, China would all but, be stoked to be a part of this. And so
Yeah,
I
because they
think
don't have to do anything. They just get to
They don't have
keep the
to do
same
nothing.
deal. All they got to do is maybe give away a little intel on where Maduro might be hanging out in any
Yeah,
given
and
afternoon.
look, you can keep
Not a
your hands
bad
clean.
deal.
You don't have to even tell us anything.
Mhm.
You just make a meeting with
Mhm.
Maduro in the palace for this day,
Mhm.
meet him there, and we know that he will be there because you met there, and then boom, the whole world changes after that.
Yeah, well, there's other narratives that Maduro signed off on this, that he's part of it, and he knew all
Yeah,
along.
well, that's the other thing too. I mean,
Yeah,
it's totally possible for the guy who was obviously being taken hostage by, gangs and narco terrorism, and maybe Russia, China was in on it. Who knows? I mean, the guy couldn't do anything. He's obviously not actually in charge of anything. So it's
Yeah.
totally possible that he would just, he couldn't be seen to make a deal with the US and say,
Yeah.
okay, because it wasn't that long ago. It's like a month ago that Maduro actually asked for a deal with Trump. He went to Trump and said, hey, okay, you take all the oil, you let me go, or no, you let me stay in charge, you can take the oil. He was trying to make a deal, basically telling
They
Trump to
said,
take the
no, we have a plan.
and he
We have a
said
plan. We have
no.
a way cooler plan, okay?
Yeah.
We're getting our entire military lined up for this plan. So no, we're not going to do a deal with you this way. We got a much better idea. We got a much more
Yeah.
theatrical event to take place. And maybe that's where the proposition, like, hey,
Or this,
you'll come here, it'll be a whole thing, we're going to parade you around, but ultimately,
right.
you guys will
This
be fine.
would be the only way for Maduro to get out without getting murdered by drug gangs in his own country.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is also reflected in who's going to control Venezuela from now on. Trump says we're going to control it. Okay, but what does that mean? Who's actually in office? Well, remember that gal, that Venezuelan Nobel Peace Prize winner we've been hearing about so much lately?
Yes.
Well,
What
some
about
people are
her?
saying, why doesn't she get in charge? Put her in charge. She's had all this press. She's basically was the front facing part of the campaign against Maduro by
Maduro, yeah.
Venezuelans.
Mhm.
Well, turns out she's not going to be in charge because Trump says she doesn't have a lot of public support. And by public support, he doesn't mean Venezuelan citizens. By support, he means the gangs and the narco terrorists and the real power structure of Venezuela.
Yeah.
And so at least what is being said now is they're actually going to let the vice president, the current vice president of Venezuela, actually actually be in charge. And you go, okay, well, isn't that just going to be just as bad as Maduro? Well, she's, coming out saying how this is illegal and this is, war on Venezuela and we won't stand for this. We're a sovereign country, etc., which is good because that would be the stance that the leader of Venezuela would have to not get murdered by the cartels, basically. And she actually gets some bonus points from Trump because this Maduro,
Marina Corina Machado is her name.
yeah, Machado is the Nobel Peace Prize winner. She's not the
That's
one
what I'm
going to
talking
get put in charge. Yeah,
Right. You're
the
talking
current
about
vice
another person?
president, who is
The
like
vice
a little,
president. Okay, sorry.
yeah, she's like a mini Maduro, right? And to at least Trump's feelings about her is that she's actually been pretty good at increasing oil production in the past few years. Not by a whole lot and definitely not by enough, but she sort of has proven herself to understand that they have to make more oil. So it seems like they're going to let the vice president stay in charge because she's maintained this position that she's, anti-America and, pro Venezuela, whatever. She's not going to get murdered by the cartels, but she understands that getting the oil production up is really the only option. She's not going to stay in office if oil production doesn't go up.
Delcy Rodriguez is her name.
Yes,
the vice president, right. Delcy Rodriguez.
Yeah. Now, just a quick stop in from Reuters, because of course we've been talking about Venezuela and Venezuelan minerals, Venezuelan oil for a long time. And Reuters has Venezuela's oil and mining sectors, large potential, weak infrastructure. So that's reflecting what I just told you about, which is they've got a ton of stuff, but the infrastructure, the refineries, the pumps is all very weak. But they do mention here, following are key facts about the oil and mining sectors of Venezuela, whose president Nicolas Maduro was captured by U.S. forces on Saturday. Venezuela has the world's largest estimated oil reserves, but its crude output remains at a fraction of capacity due to decades of mismanagement, lack of investment, and sanctions, official data shows. Venezuela holds about 17% of global reserves, or 303 billion barrels, ahead of organizations of the petroleum exporting countries, that's OPEC, leader Saudi Arabia, according to the London-based Energy Institute. Its reserves are made up of mostly heavy oil in the Orinoco region of central Venezuela, making its crude expensive to produce, but technically relatively simple, according to the U.S. Energy Department. Now, one interesting part about this really heavy crude, they have a lot of it, but it's really sort of low quality oil coming out of the ground. And there's very few refineries that are actually even able to refine such sludgy, sort of heavy oil. But the United States in Louisiana has a number of these heavy crude oil refineries that are just sitting there doing nothing. They've been totally underperforming because we haven't had the sort of heavy crude to even refine it. So part of this is pumping more of this Venezuelan heavy oil that can basically only be refined in these American refineries. Now, we've talked about the oil and blah, 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 the oil something, but it says, let's see here, there it is. In 2019, Maduro and Delcy Rodriguez, who was the country's vice president and is now acting president, announced a 5-year mining plan aimed at boosting mineral extraction as an alternative to oil production. A year prior, Venezuela's government released data on mineral deposits that used key mining industry terms interchangeably, including reserve and resource. And this is funny. It's not a very big deal, but this was a whole rabbit hole that I had to go down to understand what they were talking about. But they've been using in their own reports interchangeably the phrases reserve and resource, making it difficult to ascertain whether Caracas knew its full mining potential. A reserve is an estimate of the volume of mineral that can be economically produced. A resource is the volume of a mineral estimated in an entire region, whether or not it can be economically produced. In 2018 report, which was billed as a minerals catalog for potential investors, published on Venezuela's mining ministry website, estimated, and then it goes into coal reserves, it goes into gold resources, which are huge, silver resources, which are huge. In 2021, Venezuela's government published a map of mineral reserves based on data compiled in 2009. That map showed reserves of antimony, copper, nickel, coltan, molybdenum, blah, 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 silver, zinc, the whole thing. And that is the report that we've brought to this show several times. So Reuters is catching up.
Very good.
There you go. Now, what they don't have is rare earths, which are the metals used to make magnets, but they got all sorts of other great stuff. And yes, lots of very interesting information in the rest of this article that are a little bit too specific for the rundown we're trying to give now. One interesting thing, just to throw it in there, you can see this little chart of Venezuelan oil reserves. by country. Number 1 is Venezuela at 300 billion
Are you
barrels.
talking about the Reuters article?
It's the link right after the Reuters article, with the
Link after
highlighted
Reuters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has Venezuela at 300 billion barrels. Saudi Arabia is the next one. And the third one is Canada. And this is notable mainly because, hey, Canada is the third highest. Canada has more than Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, UAE. And Canada, obviously, without Venezuela. Now, by this chart, the U.S. just took control of that giant line.
Number 1, baby.
Number
Number
one.
1.
That's ours. Now, without control over that, the closest we have to even something we could access, really, I mean, I guess Saudi Arabia, but it's not like we could control that.
Yeah.
But number 3 is Canada. Now, Canada, obviously, we've had a little bit of a rough patch with Canada lately, Carney, and, Trump's rude comments about 51st statehood. But most of that Canadian oil is actually held in Alberta. And Alberta is kind of like, for those who don't know, Alberta is kind of like the Canadian Texas. It's a lot of freedom lovers up there in Alberta. They got a bunch of oil. They're very sort of resource rich, and like places like Texas, they kind of get beat up by the liberal government a lot. Alberta is actually in the process once again. They've done it before, but they're in the process again of trying to become independent from Canada, which is just an interesting thing to happen at the same time of Venezuela getting taken over. There's some Canadian leaders who are like, they see this happen with Venezuela and the U.S. take control of the Venezuelan oil, and they go, well, we're screwed. The U.S. has no reason to make deals with us anymore. Remember that whole thing with, Trump and Canada sort of fighting when it came to the tariffs.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Stuff like this. So there's some Canadians who are pretty concerned about this, but the Alberta secession movement, might have a chance to kind of.
This might be the perfect opportunity to take on some different roles here. I did find just a real quick one. Should Alberta separate from Canada? I'm just going to read the first sentence. Alberta's election agency has fired the starter's pistol on the race to collect enough names for a referendum on the province quitting Canada. That's the way they put it. They want to quit Canada. Quit Canada, Alberta, freedom for Alberta. That'll be great. Then we'll get top 5 on the list. I mean, multiple. Let's see, number 1, number 3. Oh, top 3.
Yeah.
Number 1 and 3 on the list. That's So the United States could really just take over all the oil reserves, basically. The number 1, number 3.
Another interesting Canada update is, remember Chrystia Freeland? Yes. Chrystia Freeland was like I don't know exactly what she was. She was like the Treasury Secretary or something to do with like the budget and the money of the Justin Trudeau regime, I guess. And it was her when she stepped down and said, I can't do this anymore. When Chrystia Freeland stepped down and didn't give her her report on the Treasury or whatever, for Canada, that's what forced Justin Trudeau to step down. Well, Chrystia Freeland apparently has just been tapped to manage the money for Ukraine, for the rebuilding of Ukraine, which is, I don't know what's going on in Canada, but somehow their politicians get to be kind of in charge of all the big stuff. Okay. You got anything you want to jump into here?
I had a few things along the way, but per usual, they kind of get buried in the background because we move on to other things, and you just keep rolling.
You can go back to them. I was just going down the list that we put out here. I don't know what you had other places.
Yeah, there was a couple things you brought up that I wanted to interject and mention, but it's I guess we had the silver or like just the metals conversation here and there. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on here. The multi-pronged effect, you kind of mentioned it at the top of the show, but we got the oil narrative, which I think is the most logical to throw out publicly, because obviously it's a resource, and it's a narrative that everyday Americans can latch onto. People in the West can kind of look at. What's that?
It's one we're used to. That's
Yeah,
been
we're
like
one we're used to.
go-to for like 100 years.
Right, we're running it back with the oil narrative, so that makes sense. The drug trafficking thing is another sort of layer of the narrative I've seen and heard people discuss. The precious metals and the hard assets in that way, and we'll talk about that in a second too. We'd mentioned the voter fraud situation, and you had mentioned the Israel thing just peripherally. There's one clip that I want to play. This actually brings us into the Iran situation, because Iran seems to be blowing up like today. Like, I don't know what the most recent update is, but before the show, there's explosions happening in Iran. There's reports of blackouts and Operation Iron. What is it? Iron Shield or something. It's all good to go to take out Iran. But there was one clip that I wanted to mention and play from. It's a clip from some 2009 documentary, and it might explain a little bit of what's going on here in connection to Israel and Iran specifically, and Venezuela happens to be part of this conversation here. And now I cannot find the tab with the clip in it. Let me try to discover. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is Isaac Herzog. In 2009, he was the minister for Israel in charge of anti-Semitic affairs. Okay, so this is anti-Semitic affair, the guy in charge of that. And this was a clip from some documentary that people dug up.
I wanted to ask you, since we met last, about the issue of Venezuela, because I heard voices kind of saying it's not so bad, and Latin America is not so bad, but I'm not convinced. And the question
You have
is,
good reason not to be convinced. Good reason. It is getting worse.
Right.
And little by little, as long as oil money works.
I'm told that by our experts, it's the only, except for Iran, it's the only government propagated anti-Semitism today around the world. It's a
Formally. Right.
This is
First
quite
within
scary.
the country and then outside.
So are you pressing in any way?
We've talked to Jesse Jackson, who has a relationship, but it's not for camera, but there are other plans.
It's not for camera, but there are other plans. So this guy walks into this office. He's talking to some other individual, and he's mentioning there that Venezuela and Iran are the only two governments perpetuating anti-Semitism, and something must be done about it. This is 2009. So I just to add a little bit of another layer to the narratives going on here, especially as we get into Iran. And I don't know, did you have anything specific, or did you just want to jump in? Because
whatever you want.
The BRICS announced, I believe it was yesterday, just in, Israel's security cabinet approves new military operation called Operation Iron Strike. Oh, I thought it was Iron Shield. Iron Strike. So it's a good to go. People are showing alleged. Whoa, that's super loud. Sorry. They're showing alleged clips of B-2 bombers and military jets and airplanes flying from Israel to Iran, allegedly. I don't know. And of course, reports this morning. This is insider paper. Massive explosion and fire reported at major dairy factory in northern Iran. And there's some images coming out of a big plume cloud, an alleged explosion. So, yeah, there seems to be, Iran seems to be next, at least in terms of some kind of sequence for all of this when it comes to the takeover. The United States flexing its muscles, 26 being the year of the horse. I don't know, the fast horse, the fastest horse, maybe the pale horse, Basil. That's that Trump is riding, where he doesn't have to necessarily use hardcore violence, but he's able to accomplish a whole lot. So just a little side note there with the Israel connection, bridging it to Iran. One other thing. So let's talk silver for a second, because one of the biggest indicators at the end of last year, at the end of 2025, that showed 2026 was going to be crazy was the humongous spike in silver prices. Gold had been rising all year, but silver just had a crazy parabolic run. And there's so many different narratives with the silver thing that it's kind of hard to know who's telling the truth and what's real because, of course, there were rumors about banks that were shorting silver. They kind of got wiped out. And so they're trying to preserve their existence in a sense by suppressing the price of paper silver as much as they can because silver is selling for, I don't know, over $100 an ounce all over the world except the United States because we operate off of the paper that trades the dollar value of the silver. I had heard, Basil, that you can't even go to pawn shops. They're not selling silver. People are asking for silver for much higher prices than the actual paper price. There's a silver squeeze going on. But what's fascinating is that much like how the the protesters were ready to go in the streets with signs protesting Venezuela mere hours after the operation took place, it was announced very shortly after the whole Maduro situation. The U.S. Department of War announced investments of over $2 billion for a U.S. smelter to process critical metals such as silver and more. What will be a $7 billion plus total build, and the first such facility since the 1970s to be built to process concentrates. Currently, only Dorr, higher grade of metal, is defined or refined in the States. This marks a massive move to reshore critical infrastructure. So, as soon as the Maduro thing happens and the U.S. takes over Venezuela, in a sense, not like directly, but just in principle, America's making big moves to smelt the smelter industry in America to bring back a lot of that refining of the metal back into the homeland. And again, it's another one of those things, man. The timing is just too perfect. The timing is too perfect because I believe, doesn't Venezuela have pretty big deposits of gold and silver? And it's another one. It's a similar situation to oil where it's like, yeah, they got a bunch, but they don't have the infrastructure to really get it. It's almost identical with the circumstances they're in when it comes to precious metals.
I saw some numbers that they have $1 trillion of gold that they can't get out of the ground.
We'll see. I don't know about that. I mean, there's people trolling a lot in these times to get a lot of attention and clicks. So that may or may not be true. But yeah, I do believe that they are rich in resources, and that's what is war about, Basil? It's about resource control. It's about supply chains. It's about controlling the flow and distribution of the assets. And if it's not happening, again, it goes back to like, hey, yeah, the NSA, the CIA, they're all involved in this. And let's go America. Let's go America. Like you had mentioned, you love the CIA. You would not have the cushy life that you have now if it wasn't for the CIA going around and twisting everybody's arms all over the world and making sure that there's no corruption going on. Even though the United States seems to be perpetrators of one of the biggest corruption schemes in history, but that's for another conversation. So there's that. And then the other part of this, what was this? Oh, yeah. Okay. So you had the actual article for this from ScottsdaleMint.com. U.S. secures silver smelter deal to process latum metals. And it's financed by JP Morgan. Jointly owned by US DOD. Okay. That's really interesting. And I did have a thought with JP Morgan because JP Morgan has been suspected of either the ones that got in trouble with the silver shorts, or they were maybe the ones that were longing silver, which also makes sense. Maybe different departments doing different things within the JP Morgan house there. But JP Morgan had been, and this is historically known to be the sort of banking front to suppress the price of silver. Because if the silver is at fair value, then our computers, our missiles, our weapons, all of our technology, much of our infrastructure will be way, way, way too expensive. So we gotta suppress silver. It's for the greater good, right? It's sort of the logic that they used. And I'm only going to mention this as a side note. Recently, we have seen the crypto markets kind of break the cycle that they're normally in. And one of the coins that's mentioned to be silver to Bitcoin's gold is Ethereum. There's debates about that, but Ethereum is the second biggest crypto in the world, and their price action has been extremely boring and tame and just mind-numbing for crypto. It has not moved in, I'm thinking like 4 or 5 years now. It moves up and down, but as far as all-time highs and having these breakouts and stuff, it has not done so. And ironically enough, the price of Ethereum, if it goes too high, the network gets congested. It costs a lot of what they call it gas, ironically, to operate on Ethereum. Well, JP Morgan just announced that they created a money market on Ethereum called Money, MONY. And so maybe they're using the same suppression playbook and the same logic to suppress an asset that they used to do for silver. And now they're going to do it to crypto, or especially Ethereum, because they're getting involved building their money markets on Ethereum. So that's bad news for Ethereum. That means Ethereum might not move in price for like 20 years until there's a revolution. And then everybody mines, or I guess they don't mine Ethereum anymore. It's all proof of stake. But I don't know, some kind of rebellion or some kind of revolution to take place before they free Ethereum to get back to fair value. But just a little side note on the crypto front. But here you go. Yeah, this article states Korea Zinc plans a $7.4 billion investment to construct a large-scale non-ferrous metals smelter in Clarksville, Tennessee, a project U.S. officials say will materially expand domestic critical minerals processing capacity and strengthen supply chain security. Where would we be without the DoD and JP Morgan, Basil? I don't know. We have all of the intelligence agencies to thank for our comfortable, cushy lives. So there you go. All right. So that's the silver front. And again, I'm realizing as we do the show that a lot of this, the resource-based stuff, it's sort of the same. It's the same thing. Whether it's oil, whether it's silver, whether it's gold, it all seems to be a similar narrative about, expensive to do, lots available, but not the technology or the resources, the infrastructure to really extract it and put it to good use. So bring in America to do all the heavy lifting there. The voter fraud stuff, I mean, I've seen some angles on it, Basil. I don't know how strong they are, but certainly people are discussing how Venezuela owned some of the ballot counting companies and stuff.
Smartmatic.
Smartmatic, yeah.
Which was connected to the the election of Hugo Chavez. Passed his second term or whatever it was. So that that voting machine story has been going on for honestly decades at this point, and has always and does also now really strangely tie in with a lot of stuff in Venezuela. It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
But the Q folks are having a blast with it.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah, there's so much, especially with Trump's recent dead bird post that he made a few days ago, right before the new year ended. I mean, the Q folks are out in force again. Okay, so part of this, Basil, we've talked about the betting markets and how the world, think about all the elements of an entertainment piece. And I bring it back to sports because sports, and it harkens back to the days of the Colosseum, this idea of competition, of a script, perhaps, maybe you can conspire to maybe lay out a script for some kind of outcome. It doesn't always work out that way. So there's still that element of uncertainty. But how you know that it's truly a entertainment piece is the element of gambling, the ability to gamble, the ability to put your money where your mouth is when it comes to a prediction or an outlook. I mean, Basil, you and I would be perhaps billionaires if we actually put money on a lot of things we said over the years, especially if we, place the bets on a market like Polymarket before it existed. And then, when the leverage was, or the ratio was really low, the likelihood, we could have really printed on some of that, but of course that didn't exist. But some people really made a killing. This is finance.yahoo.com. And the headline here, not a trader, but a trader netted $400,000 by betting on Maduro's capture. Was it inside trading? I mean, it would make sense if the guy knew that his buddies are going into Venezuela for an extraction job. Might be a good time to hop on Polymarket, drop a few grand, extract from the decentralized crypto markets. It's a good operation.
Well,
A
Polymarket isn't necessarily a decentralized crypto market. It has
I
things
know. It
involved. But,
leverages.
well, I heard an analysis I thought was very interesting. It was regarding this trade, and the thought was, is this insider trading? And someone gave a pretty interesting view on it, which is like, yeah, not only is insider trading obviously possible, but it's encouraged in the what do they call it? The event trading markets. What's the official name for it?
I don't know. Well, you said event
it's not
trading.
betting. It's not betting
Like
market.
politics?
No. What's the official name of like Polymarket things? They're like event. What are they called? Like the official marketing of it. It's not. They don't call it betting. You're trading, and
Trading, yeah.
things that you're trading.
Prediction markets. Prediction markets. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but there's the actual like individual object you're trading is like an event bid or something. I'll figure it out. But anyways, the idea was like, actually, yeah, we like want insider trading on this for some reason. I didn't quite understand it, but I was wondering if you had heard of it before.
Not quite. Yeah. I mean, so the decentralized part is that they use Polygon as the blockchain to facilitate all of this. And so there's smart contracts involved. Polymarket's distributing it. So it's another one of those half centralized, half decentralized type of things. I'm looking at how is price calculated. You got limit orders. Yeah, so it is kind of like a trade. It's like a leverage trade. It's
Financial
futures.
instrument. Yeah, it's an official financial instrument. It's not a bet. It's like buying a stock or something. But
Right.
It's got a special name to it.
Limit orders. Well, that's different. But anyway, so great. Some guy made $400,000 off of the bet that Maduro is going to get arrested or taken out. And that's a good trade. Speaking of Polymarket and some of these trades, Quiver Quantitative breaking a brand new account on Polymarket just made a massive bet that China will invade Taiwan this year. They will win $289,000 if they are correct. Insider or gamble? And it shows here that this individual put in about $33,000 for this bet, Basil. About $33,000.
Oh, that's
so
totally normal.
That's I don't know if that's some kind of signaling going on. This individual is named Casper's MC. I wonder who it is. Is this like Ghislaine Maxwell having a Reddit account that she stopped posting on the day she was arrested and brought into the thing? Maybe there's some people out there that are putting these predictions out there, and you're supposed to kind of know, because a lot of times it's rare that these kinds of bets go wrong. Especially these bigger ones. Seems like they're always spot on. So
I did see a couple days ago somebody had bet something like $300,000 for a chance to win $400 that Elon would tweet 380 times last month. As of like 11 p.m. on New Year's Eve, he had tweeted 379 times that month. He needed to like tweet one more time, or else his guy would lose like $250,000.
Okay, so if you want to, there's some takes out there. Actually, I'm seeing a lot of things on the timeline of like different takes about how this whole Maduro thing is staged, and people have. You guys can go down.
It is what it is for today. I feel my voice starting to go away, so we might need to thank some producers for today.
Okay.
That's Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on the timeline, and it is just popping off so hard today. 17% increase in Venezuela's stock exchange. Bitcoin's up about $5
Yeah,
grand.
that's the other thing, by the way. In 2025, and this isn't just crypto, this is like all markets. Anytime there was like a tension event or some kind of event like this, the markets would tank because it's just, bad sentiment. But this had the opposite effect. Everything's pumping like crazy.
Yeah, on the
Just up with
Venezuelan
that.
stock exchange and Bitcoin.
crypto, yeah.
However, Canadian Oil Limited is tanking. The Canadian oil is.
Interesting.
All right.
I did see a post about how the Kramer, what is it called? Reverse Kramer?
Reverse Kramer is now beating Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you.
the bottom
Yes.
chart.
Yes. Thank you. That's what I wanted to mention. That it's talking about insider trading. Yes, it's official now that Inverse Kramer is now beating out Pelosi. It's a changing of the guard. It's a new generation.
Well, she's stepping down, so
Yeah,
she's cooling off a little bit. All right. Well, we'll see what else happens. Oh boy, let's see if we can get through some producers here. We are on the value for value model. I mentioned to people the past couple weeks that I had started reading through Ayn Rand's what is it called? Atlas Shrugged. And it's just like crazy. It's just blowing my mind how relevant it is to exactly today. This Venezuelan thing is even a huge part of it. But I was reading through, I think it was yesterday, and I came across the phrase in Atlas Shrugged of value for value. And I was like, okay, all right, sure. I guess that's, the way God intended it. But we are value for value, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, Venezuelans, cartels, the Vatican, nobody. We're entirely sustained by listeners of the show, and not just listeners, but when listeners come in, they say, I get value. I want to continue getting value. I'm going to come in and I'm going to become a producer of the show. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of ways to do it. You just go to canarycry.support to learn more about it. And I want to thank some executive producers who came in today just in time to receive their executive producer thank you calendar for 2026. And I'm going to thank them now. What do you say, Gons?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it
I want to thank executive producer Michael B. comes in. Thank you, Michael
B. Thank you.
Comes in for a nice round number. For those who don't know, if you support the show with a nice round number, like on the 10 or the 100 or something, that's you telling us you prefer we do not disclose the amount. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount, put some sauce on it. Add 33 cents, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 77 cents, something funky that tells us you don't mind us disclosing it on the show. So thank you very much, executive producer Michael B.
Thank you, Michael B.
Oh yeah, the executive producers are those who come in, they support the show for $100 or more. So that's why they're executive producers. We got executive producer Sir Jamie, not the Lannister.
Hey, Sir Jamie, thank you.
Sir Jamie coming in, supporting the show with his weekly tithe. Appreciate that. We had a very generous executive producer, Thomas W.
Thomas W. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thomas W. Really coming in and saving the day there. I did not see a message from Thomas W., but I will keep an eye out in case there was one. It's one of those producerships that sometimes you'd expect to get a note, but that's okay. Next up, we've got, an anonymous executive producer. And, this is very sweet. This anonymous executive producer says they want to sponsor a Canary Cry calendar for producer One Lousy Petunia, if they're still available. They are still available. Plus produce a show, win-win. If calendar is available. Be excellent to each other and rattle on, dudes. Thank you very much, anonymous executive producer. We will make sure that One Lousy Petunia gets a Canary Cry calendar for 2026.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you.
Last but not least, we've got executive producer Sir Alex Protocol V2 Baron of the Brian Protocol coming in. Coming in for $100, 33 cents. Thank you on a 451 episode streak and a 105 executive producer streak.
Illuminatus!
And let's see here. We got some producers who came in under the executive producer amount. We thank them very much. We're going to thank producer Guy L.
Guy L. What a guy.
Thank you very much, Guy.
What a guy.
And of course, we've got CageRattlerCoffee.com.
CageRattlerCoffee.com. Gotta find that other one.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. CageRattlerCoffee.com is coffee for Canarians, by Canarians, roasted by Canarians, and enjoyed by Canarians around the world. And the fun part is, look, you're going to give your money to the coffee companies anyways. You might as well give it to one that doesn't hate everything you stand for. Au contraire, Cage Rattler Coffee is where the folks get their coffee when they know what's going on in the world. And I got a note here that will be, not we, but Cage Rattler Coffee will be running a promo code, all caps, New Year, one word, New Year, for 10% off of the sample packs over there at Cage Rattler Coffee. Thank you very much. And of course, sign up for your subscription to Coffee of the Month Club, because that's where all the new and improved roasts get sent out to the Canarians around the world. So go check it out. And a portion of every bag sold goes to support your Canary Cry news talk, which it's a win-win-win, baby. Thank you very much, CageRattlerCoffee.com, and go get it, folks.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. That's it for the producers today. We'll be thanking our under $7.77 producers on Wednesday. Appreciate you. Let me see here. We had something. There was something. Why don't you do something while I remember what this something was?
You really want to know what I'm looking up right now? Because it's in the rabbit hole.
No, I don't want that. I want you to thank some producers or something. We've got.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we actually, great time to thank some producers for their art. Appreciate everybody submitting their art. Go to canarycry.art and you can help shape the culture behind the community. We've been doing it for a long time. There are some people that we would like to highlight with their art coming in. First up, Anon had a note here. Oops, where did it go? The note says, in September of 2025, on episode 878, Basil mentioned finding a googly eye in the lint trap. And I had an epiphany. Googly eyes, check. Pink shirt, check. Kangaroo legs, check. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a biblically accurate Basil. I really think I'm onto something here. Did I go too far? Possibly. Am I teetering on the precipice of blasphemy? Probably. But it's a new year. I got my art supplies, and it's your problem now. And that is very accurate. Biblically accurate Basil, would you like to describe?
Yes, put it up on the screen there so everybody else can see it.
Oh, it's not up there? Oh, here it is. Yeah.
This is really incredible. And I could see how this would have to come in a moment of inspiration, because all the pieces were there. They've been there for a long time, but it just took some divine inspiration, put it all together. The fact that Ianon is referring to Basil's kangaroo legs means that Ianon is quite the old school Canarian.
OG of OGs.
Dates back to our conversation with the Christian transhumanist there. And of course, biblically accurate angels, so hot right now. And yes, all the pieces were there. This is a really well composed, incredible not a sketch, but done with sort of colored pencils or maybe some ink on there. You've got Basil with my pink shirt. Yes, I washed my white shirt with a red garage rag, and forever my shirts are slightly pink. Of course, got the VR headset with the googly eyes, the kangaroo legs there, and it's in this very sort of like ethereal pose. It's almost like you'd see this composition on like an old Rococo or like the ceiling of like, you know, the Sistine Chapel of something, very sort of floaty. And biblically accurate Basil is knitting what looks to be like a scarf, and it's covered in eyeballs looking every which way. There's also eyeballs on the pink shirt, on the kangaroo legs, and the knitting is happening with this curly cue of yarn that is encircling the biblically accurate Basil, almost like a halo, to a yarn ball with a very rowdy cat that seems to be floating without gravity, stretching, reaching out to catch the sort of divine yarn ball there. Very fun, very cute. And of course, there's a tag on the end of the biblically accurate scarf here that says 100% recycled lint. And I think we found it. It's taken us many years, but I think we found the true purpose of dryer lint, and that is to depict biblically accurate Basil. I think you're onto something, Ianon. This is very well done. I love it.
Well done, Ianon. Thank you very much for your contribution here. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. Beautiful piece. You can get a poster with this or something. Have it in the background.
Maybe we'll put it on a t-shirt or something.
Yeah,
we'll have to get somebody to. We'll need to do a vector version so we can put it on a t-shirt.
Carve it into an ostrich bone. Make it a special piece. Thank you very much, Ianon. Appreciate you. We got some other pieces of art, namely from Caleb. Now, Caleb came in, no note with these, but he made some duo art. This is Fallout themed, I believe. Fallout themed Gons with the jumpsuit on, with the blue jumpsuit with the blue trim, brown belt with the number 33 across the chest over the heart. I got my black boots on, thumbs up, and I have some kind of device over my left forearm. Okay, all right.
Do you not watch Fallout?
I'm
started our Twitch account back in like 2017 or something. We started our Twitch account because the game Fallout 76 was coming out.
Yes,
and we were planning on doing live streaming playing Fallout 76. We never did end up doing that, like all of our best laid plans. But yes, you never did actually get into Fallout, did you?
I did not. Yeah, too bad.
Yes, well, it's very good. We've got Fallout Guns, of course, doing the classic thumbs up. Got his Pip-Boy there. Very cool. Which does hearken to the next piece of art, which is Steel Brotherhood Basil. Is it Iron Brotherhood or Steel Brotherhood? I have somebody in the chat can correct me on this. But I've got my what is it called? T60 power armor with giant googly eye.
Looks fitting
on the outside of the suit. Yes. And I'm holding a kitty. I've got my little wasteland kitty there. Of course, if you find yourself a wasteland kitty that is not mutated in horrible ways, you better have some T60 power armor to protect it from the dangers of the wasteland. Thank you very much, Caleb. This is really good.
Thank you, Caleb. He actually had one more piece, and
which is bizarre because we often see this with the art every once in a while, that just like the spirit moves in multiple people at the same time and their art becomes thematic. We had the Lint Trap song inspire Ianon for the last one, and then also Caleb came out with this. It is a video, so for those who are just listening, you'll miss the video, but you will get the song, and it is all around 10 out of 10.
feet on a cool floor, coffee in the kitchen, but I'm headed for the dryer door. Little silver handle, heart beating like I'm 16. I pull it open slow, like I'm stepping in a daydream. Lint trap love, yeah, you're my little treasure. Soft gray clouds in a tiny woven heaven. I breathe you in, and the world feels far away. I save it all, save the lint for a rainy day.
That is so
Wow.
funny. Caleb, that is
I love
so
the part where the lint that you pull out this big old gross bucket of lint and it transforms into this lint
my-
lady with
my
googly
lint-
eyes.
lint trap love, man. You see, you've got the lint trap lint being, putting the biblically accurate basil, knitting the scarf, and in this case, the lint trap lint transforms into a girlfriend. In this case,
A
not an AI
girlfriend,
girlfriend, not
a
an
real-
anime girlfriend, but what seems to be a very modest and respectable lint trap girlfriend. Thank you very much, Caleb.
And then I like the other one where there's a big ball of lint and you just kind of hug it. You cradle it like a baby, and then you put it up to your nose and smell it.
You ever sniffed lint trap lint? It's great. It smells like clean laundry.
It does. I've never sniffed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just try it out
Maybe
next
it's- I'll try it out. Yeah. We'll
Thank you
see.
very much, Caleb. Thank you very much, Ian, on beautiful pieces to start out the show, and
Yes.
some real contenders here for future design opportunities. And y'all could do it too. You don't need to be a professional artist. We are now welcoming AI art, which we were going to get there eventually, but
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
hey, if you got kids, if you got little Canarians out there, set them down with some crayons. We love it all. It goes into our spreadsheet here, and we use it for everything from t-shirt designs to website stuff to what is it? What am I trying to say? Newsletter? Yeah, newsletter. I was trying to say newsletter, but the word Netflix was just stuck in my head. We won't put your
Propaganda.
art.
Mind control is strong with some of these companies.
Yeah. And all you got to do is go to canarycry.art there, and you can upload it, and we'll feature it on the show.
Real quick.
Canary Cry Meetup.
That's what I was trying to remember. Yes, we have officially a new meetup. This Canary Cry meetup will be at 3 p.m. Saturday, February 7th at the Whirling Tiger in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, that's right in the heartland of the Canarians there. So listen up, Kentucky and other states nearby. Louisville, Kentucky, February 7th, 3 p.m. Saturday. No spooks or ops. Okay, so they're not inviting any CIA members, or if you're an asset of some other intelligence groups, you're not invited. I know. It's
Maybe we should be like the Metropolitan Police, and if you're part of any organization like the Freemasons or the CIA, you have to let us know.
It's true. They did not include no Freemasons, so technically Freemasons are still allowed at this one.
Well, they might fall under ops.
For details or to RSVP, email lookglassdarkly@gmail.com. That's LOOK, look glass, GLASS, darkly, DARKLY @gmail.com. Get on over there to Louisville, Kentucky, everybody, at the Whirling Tiger, February 7th. And it's fun. His flyer here has Mantis Man. Is Mantis Man from Louisville?
I have no idea, but how does he pick anything up with those squirrely fingers?
Yeah, well, Mantis Man, one of the classic categories of aliens, of course. And I don't know why he's on this flyer, but he's there. And so maybe it's a search party. Maybe they're looking for Mantis Man at the meetup.
Perfect. Fantastic.
Okay. Let's see here. I think that's it. I'm losing my voice. I'm not going to read. Well, let me see if there's anything on the Canary Cry text message alert system. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Get notified when we go live, and you can text us back at that number. Please do. 907 says, shout out to the Alaskan trapper, Nomen Punte, also of Alaska. Okay, so we've got multiple Alaskan Canarians. Very good. Let's see here. 787 says, waited all weekend to hear what Basil and Gons got to say about what happened this weekend. There's just not enough time in the day to get through it all. 661 says, thanks for live stream on Twitch, and I just love Canary Cry Dank memes on the Discord. Oh, there you go. Get on the Discord, get in the dank memes, folks. Yep. Thank you very much, everybody. Lots of people noticed that I sound sick. I am sick. I will probably lose my voice after this show, but hopefully it's back by Wednesday. All right.
Good.
Anything else, guys?
We're praying for you, buddy. No. Just a little fun little side note. I don't know how everyone else's 2026 is going, but good news on the front for my father. His cancer, it's pretty much gone. So that's a miracle in itself.
Yeah.
And he's on kind of a monitoring type of situation. But he also went to Las Vegas this past weekend, and he likes to play the slots, those little slots that, a few cents here and there.
Asian dads, Asian
dads, I know. They can't help it themselves. They get attracted to the bright lights of the slot machines. And they disappear at 4 a.m. and they're down there. You think they're doing something nefarious. No, they're just down in the casino, chomping away. But he hit a jackpot and won $11,000.
Incredible. Wow.
From 88 cents. 88 cent bet, 11,000. But then I thought to myself, like, he'd been going to Vegas for 20-something years. I'm sure he's actually spent more than $11,000.
Broke even. Those penny slots.
Yeah. So maybe, time is due for him to get a little.
I mean, that's exciting, though. You kick cancer and then hit the jackpot. I mean, I'm sure he's right.
2026. He's coming out hot in 2026, and I volunteered to be a donated figure of the $11,000. I don't think he's going to share any of it with anybody, but. There you go. Also, just one last thing, Basil, because this is more related to the topic of the show, but I do need to just mention it just because I want to put it on record. Maybe we can tackle it more on Wednesday. But Naftali Bennett, do you remember Naftali Bennett? He was the 13th prime minister of Israel. Between the Netanyahu, he had taken over, and then Bibi came back and got reelected. He posted this very strange video. He says, it's time. Okay, that's the tweet. And the video is him flipping over an hourglass or a sand. What is it? What are these called? Sand?
That's an hourglass.
This hourglass thing. He flips it over. The sound and the eye of the tiger and everything starts up. And the caption, I think it says, what does it say?
It's not the caption. It's on the hourglass.
Yeah. What does it say? Every second counts or something?
Yeah, right.
Something to that effect. And anyway, the Q heads are all saying that this is Israel leadership admitting that QAnon was an Israeli psyop all along by basically posting this. And I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with all the Q details in the deepest of the rabbit holes to say whether that's true or not, but it is strange to say the least, Basil. I don't know if this is just
probably we're coming after you Iran thing.
That's what I think it is too. But because the Q thing I know had the "we're saving Israel for last" famously line in there. So maybe this is the Iran situation as well. And I think actually Naftali Bennett did basically threaten Iran, did he not, with some other posts. So anyway, we'll look forward to seeing what happens Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll be back on Orthodox Christmas. We'll celebrate the Orthodox Christmas on Wednesday.
The Orthodox Christmas. Okay. Very good.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Why don't we thank our time stampers and we can get out of here?
Time stampers to thank. Let's see. Do we even have a jingle for them anymore? Oh, yeah, we do.
Time stamp, it's hard work. Time stamp.
Yes.
Do we even have a jingle for them anymore? Is anybody else like living in a weird alternate universe when you hear Gons ask if we have a jingle that we play every single episode?
I must be living on a different timeline, or maybe the
You
Mandela
are. I
effect.
think you kind of
is
jump around, man.
really-
I think sometimes I think you are just like kind of flipping back and forth from a couple of realities.
Well, funny you mentioned that, Basil, because I had this headline ready to go for today, but we didn't really go into it. It's from Popular Mechanics, and it says, your consciousness can jump through time, meaning gut feelings are memories from the future, scientists say.
You're
So
telling
maybe,
me.
you know, you'd always said you were from the future. You know, maybe we're both from the future.
I didn't say I was from the future.
You're right. You're right. Even the CIA has publicly released data on the psychic phenomenon. That is the headline from Popular Mechanics.
Yeah,
Talking about consciousness, tapping into your future self, Basil. Your future self. So maybe
whose
you're right. Maybe
future self? It's particularly relevant because our timestamper's future self will probably be doing the timestamps next episode.
That's very true. Jade Bouncerson, thank you very much for doing the timestamps. You are the one and only timestamper right now. We really appreciate you stepping up and continuing to do that. So thank you very much.
Still putting out the call. If anybody else would like to help with the timestamps, send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. Thank you to Jam for heading up the Telegram channel, and thank you to Adam42 for leading the Discord channel. You heard it here from a text message sender. The Discord channel, the Dank Memes section is there to reveal all the funniest memes to you.
Is lit.
If you are or want to become a Telegram person or a Discord person, you can find those links at canarycry.party. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for clanking. Thank you to Sir Ike for everything you do. And other than that, share the show. Share the show, folks. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. We call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey,
stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
I don't think so. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here for another episode. Look out for 2021. Go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not go to the Capitol Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow's Jan 6th. That's what it is. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, tomorrow's Jan 6th. And also today, Tim Walz dropped out of his government or out of his gubernatorial
race.
Yes, Somalis caught up with him. He's dropping out. Tough year for Tim Walz.
Is that justice? Is this all we're gonna? Is this the justice that we're gonna get? Is Tim Walz dropping out of the race? Is that enough for the American
Yeah,
people?
he's probably avoiding justice by doing this, but
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
White guy tacos. Okay, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. I was like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap. Just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
Love it, man.
You gotta clean this out. It's like a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
Love it, man.
You gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love that. I'm constantly having to remind myself, wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
The deep state and the swamp. The swamp, the deep state. The swamp, the deep state. Swamp. So they're going to meet the deep state. What? They like Taylor Swift. The deep state is saving us from Armageddon, they say. Deep state means any government worker. That's the deep state. When we hear deep state, instead of recoiling, we should rally. Deep state. Even though their work is often invisible, it makes our lives better. Thank you, deep state. This is the most magnificent.
It's Corona time. COVID-19.
you, I demand a vaccination to come immediately. I call you done. No more. No more. I call you gone. You come down.
What are we going to do? Burn.
COVID-19, 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 COVID-19,
They're going to probably try and rattle her cage a little bit more.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cry.